Hello and welcome to a video that we are recording at the start of 2022. So welcome to the new year. Today I have with me Mr. Ben.
Yep. Hello everyone.
Ben has been working with us for many years, and he's the wholesale manager in our company.
Yep.
And the reason why he's joining me today is because we wanted to discuss a little bit the past year. We get a lot of questions from other roasters, other people. You know, how was 2021 for you guys? So we thought we would share a little bit our experience and talk a little bit about the industry in general, because a lot of people also wonder, where is our industry heading?
Yeah.
So obviously we haven't made a lot of these videos in the last couple of years. We've been mainly focusing on subscription videos, but our intention is to create a little bit more content for you to follow. So that's the idea. Welcome, Ben.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Tim. Thanks for having me.
How was your 2021 in general?
It's a bit of a blur, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's been kind of like a roller coaster, I suppose. We're getting used to these new ways of working under COVID and pandemics and lockdowns and things, and just rolling with the punches.
We can't really hide the fact that COVID has been a big part of the last 2 years.
I don't think anyone can hide that. It's just fact of life now.
Yeah. So I think, you know, for at least 2021, the year kind of started, we were shut down in Norway for almost 6 months. From about December, I think, until, I think it was until after Easter.
Yeah.
Everything was
around
shut down.
summertime and
How did that affect your kind of work? Because you work with wholesale clients.
Yeah, obviously we work with lots of restaurants and cafes here in Norway, Oslo especially, and they were struggling, and we emphasized with them, and we were a little bit quiet on the home front, but at the same time then we were busy with our international customers. So in many ways, you know, things rolled along quite smoothly for us in general, but we did see that some of our customers were, you know, closing while others were opening, and it meant that we just had to support as best as we could.
Yeah. There's also a few customers who were planning on opening who are still not open.
Yeah, true. And I think that's been one positive, at least in this time, is that it hasn't hindered everyone's hopes and plans, and it's given people time to sort of sit down and plan for the future and look forward to 2022 and on. And so there's lots of things coming, which we're excited about.
Yeah, I think in general, we've seen here in Norway at least that there's been a shift in how people consume coffee. You know, the general public will normally drink most of their coffees in the office.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
And since at least half of the year has been home office, we have not been allowed to go into the offices. It seems like at least the roasters that I've been talking with, there are normally small roasters, they've been selling a lot more coffee to home or end consumers. So it looks like, you know, we don't have to drink the so-so quality coffee in the office anymore. And then when you have an office at home, you really want to treat yourself a little bit, because you can't really spend the money on the restaurant. They're all closed.
No, that's true. Yeah, probably people have better budgets now, personally, and we do work with lots of offices in Oslo and Norway, so I think they have been kind of trying to sort of supply their staff with good coffee, so we have done some like direct sales or sendings home to them, and also our web shop has just kind of gone crazy while the wholesale part sort of went that way, and then other sort of delivery services like a Moi here in Norway. So,
and our subscription has really been increasing a lot for the last 2 years during the pandemic.
True, so maybe that's just a trend that we're going to see continue.
Oh, hopefully. I think, you know, once people get back to the office, it's going to be quite hard to go back to, you know, a lot of the office coffee that I drink when I'm visiting other people's offices. It's not the greatest. Sometimes it can be really nice, but it's hard to go back once you've kind of gotten used to something nice.
For sure,
And I think, you know, we see a little trend in the supermarkets as well here in Norway. That's I know, because I know 2 roasters who are supplying supermarkets with pretty high quality coffee. And their sales have gone through the roof. So maybe, you know, it seems like people are treating themselves to a little extra.
That's just a good thing, isn't it? Like, you know, if we get better quality coffee on the shelves of supermarkets, and people can enjoy that at home. Like, I think that's just positive for the industry in general. Yeah.
What about wholesale? Like one of the fears that I kind of have, I'm not afraid of it, but I think we're already seeing some people who are starting to look at coffee as a way of saving money. So what made them successful in the past by serving good coffee, now they're kind of thinking about maybe we should start buying some cheaper coffee to save money.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everyone's got budgets, and I understand, like, you know, it has been a tough year for lots of restaurants and things, so they're trying to find ways to survive. But I mean, coffee is such a small part of their probably overall budget or finance in that thing. And I think, you know, if you're just trying to save money on, you know, a little bit of the meal or the menu there, like, you're going to notice a big difference in the quality. And,
So I did the calculations a couple of days ago. Like, maybe you can save maybe, you know, 10 euro cents per cup. Not even that, you know, one Norwegian krone maximum per cup you can save.
So probably holistically, that's not going to have a huge effect.
No.
If you're,
You could just raise the price with a couple of crowns. The prices are going up. So and especially during the pandemic, things are becoming a lot more expensive. Has there been any kind of change in the way you work with the clients and trainings and stuff?
Yeah, there has been. Obviously, like, things have had to be more remote. There's been a little bit more kind of support online or just over the phone and email. It's also given us a bit of time to, I've been able to go and visit people, and if they've been closed or been, you know, a little bit quieter, we've had time to do extra trainings and things like that. So yeah, in general, like, we've had to sort of shut down the roastery and lab here, and also because we haven't wanted to have too many visitors. Just trying to protect our production and our staff here. So hopefully soon we'll be able to open up, and we'd like to get all our wholesale customers to come here, see the way we work, do tastings, trainings, and things like that. So
we've been quite restrictive. I mean, if one person gets COVID here, it means maybe, like, we did have that once, and 8 people went to quarantine. And back then we had 12 people working here. So we were the ones working downstairs all day long, packing, roasting, doing all that stuff. So
with a small team, we've been very careful with our, like, protecting our production and being able to just keep teams separated. And
if the customer doesn't get coffee, then, you know, it's not very nice.
So.
But it's not just our kind of world that is changing. The coffee world is changing a lot as well, and that's kind of what we're going to talk about a little bit today. And one thing for sure that is very, very obvious is there's a lot less traveling. And that goes not just for coffee buying, but it also goes for trade shows and you know, going to symposiums. Nordic Roaster hasn't happened in 2 years.
Yeah, that's true. How have you found it? I think you might secretly have enjoyed that a little bit.
Yeah, personally, I've been thinking for a long time that we are doing a little bit too much traveling, both because of the environmental impact, and also I personally am, you know, I don't need to go to every single trade show there is, just for the sake of going. I think it's nice to go every once in a while, but it doesn't have to be every year, because at the end it's just more or less the same things
You're meeting
happening.
the same people, and
and networking you can also do differently. You can network through, you know, online. For me, actually, it's been much better to be based here in Oslo. We moved our roastery in 2018, and since then we've kind of trying to get used to our new space, and there was a lot of things we needed to work on. We have been growing a lot. So it's been really good to be home, to be able to be a part of
top of the business things. And,
It's difficult when I'm in Colombia to fix things, you know, even if you can do it online.
I suppose it interrupts the year a bit, but I mean, you have missed going to Origin, obviously. But, that has been, I'm guessing for you, you know, like a challenge, but also, you know, you've probably found new solutions as well.
Yeah, I think for most of the farms that we already buy from, it's not been a problem at all. They already know what to do. They're very, very skilled people. They know what I want. So every for 2 years now, I haven't been able to go to taste coffees and kind of go through their routines and everything. But we're communicating online, and also they're just sending samples.
Yeah.
So I might as well cup the coffees here. I cup them here anyway.
You've had a long relationship with lots of these guys for 10 plus years. So I mean, maybe some of the newer people in our stable, like the Ethiopian farms, we're beginning to work with.
Yeah, that's kind of the biggest drawback, I think, without being because I started going to Ethiopia, I think 2018 as well, with the purpose of trying to find a few farmers we could work directly with, and we have found some, but the progress there has kind of stalled a little bit because I haven't been able to go there and follow up.
We're in our third year with
I think
some of those,
third or fourth season.
Tatmara, Echimo, Farham.
Yeah.
So still quite young and it's quite new for us.
But with Ethiopia, we actually cooperate with an importer named Belco, who's based in France. They have an office in Ethiopia. So they're facilitating the logistics for us and also helping us be on the ground a little bit. So I just had a meeting with Jacques, who is their office manager in Ethiopia. And he was reporting what they've been doing, and we were discussing a few things that we could improve quite easily. And they're going to try to implement that for this harvest that's happening now. And we're also looking at trying to make a budget for a wet mill for Tatmara, for instance. Because 2 years ago, his coffee was completely destroyed by rain because he's only doing naturals. And so we want to at least encourage him to be able to have a wet mill so he can wash his coffee if he has, complicated weather. And also because we like washed coffees.
I mean, the potential is unbelievable there. So having, I suppose, having Belco and quality people there, you don't necessarily have to go every year anyway.
No, I don't. But at the start of these kind of relationships, it's good to follow up quite intensely, just so that they understand that we mean serious business. We are committed, and that they can kind of get motivation to actually do the changes a little bit faster. I think the biggest worry now is not me not being in Ethiopia, but Ethiopia is at the moment having some quite serious internal problems. So hopefully that won't escalate and peace can be maintained. But it's a bit difficult, I think.
There's challenges in Ethiopia and in Kenya. I've heard lots of people say recently, the last few years, Kenyan coffee has not been the same quality that we've come to expect. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I kind of disagree with that a lot. I think the biggest threat to Kenyan coffee is the age of the farmer. The average age of the farmer in Kenya is above 55 years old, I think. And there's not a lot of young people who want to take over, for a good reason. The average size of a farm in Kenya is less than half a hectare. A farm might have 200-300 coffee trees maximum. So they harvest very little fruit. They don't process their own coffee. There is great systems for processing and purchasing. We can purchase 10 bags, 20 bags, 50 bags, 100 bags. We can go to Kenya and cup through thousands of coffees and find the very best ones. So in some way it works really well, but because the farmer is so small and there's some other guys that are much bigger who's controlling the market.
So it's not great incentives to become a farmer in Kenya if you're...
Not at all, not at all. And the economy there is growing quite fast. So you see a lot of urbanization, young people moving to the city, and that kind of leaves the farms behind. So that's, I think, the biggest threat for coffee in Kenya.
So you haven't seen any decline in
quality? No, I think it fluctuates from year to year. 2 years ago, they had floods and heavy rains during the harvest, which made it very difficult to dry the coffees, and that affected the quality. Some years they have more coffee leaf rust, coffee berry disease. Other years they don't. Some years they have huge crops. Some years they have small crops.
So it's not a general trend. But what about...
I don't think so. I mean, at least for us, the Karinga we had this year was amazing. The Gachata was amazing. 2 of the 3 Karagota lots we bought was, fantastic.
Kia here was probably my favorite coffee.
Kia here, So this year, for us at least, it was a great year. And I think, we do see a lot of roasters buying ABs, which is smaller beans in Kenya. And in my experience, although they can taste similar to a AA, it's very rare that it's better.
Yeah.
So
they're saving money maybe on buying the smaller screen size, and then that's more in the market.
Yeah, it's still great coffee.
Yeah.
But at least when I cup, I normally always cup the ABs and the AAs and the pea berries of the same lot when I buy coffees. And I always prefer the AA and the pea berry. And the AB is normally not my favorite. So we tend to buy the AAs because they're the best. And I think it's also about a little bit timing. When you go to Kenya, coffees just come in as they're harvested almost. If you're there early, you might be getting very first pickings. They might not be great. If you're there late, you might be getting the very late pickings. If you're there in the middle, you might be getting very good pickings.
And you've talked about them opening up a bit as well. So like when you're making selections, you're not necessarily choosing those that are ripest and fruitiest and bouncing there, that you're more thinking 3 to 6 months time. How it's going to...
Yeah, it's always when I buy Kenyan coffees, I'm not evaluating aroma, believe it or not, because I know it's there. I'm evaluating more structure and cup, like texture and sweetness and stuff like that. So,
what about cultivars and varieties and things? So are they like changing in Kenya? Are we seeing more of the Batian and Ruru?
Sure, you're seeing more Batian, more Ruru 11, but you're also seeing people planting more SL28. So I think it's hard to say, just from having been there a couple of times in my life, to say whether it's going up or down. The production is probably declining because less people want to grow coffee. Urbanization, land is getting expensive. A lot of the farms is around Nairobi. Kiambu, Nyeri is very close to Nairobi. But we do see also new areas in Kenya where new coffees are being discovered. And we have to acknowledge that coffee is a natural product. So climate change also affects the quality. And so we'll see if the quality is going down or not. In my experience, not really. It's easy to buy really great coffee from Kenya, even in bad years.
I think we've just been so used to Kenyan coffees being like so like far ahead of the rest almost in a way, like they're just being so aromatic, so fruity, so fantastic that you know, perhaps we're getting better qualities from other origins and the gap's not so big anymore.
Maybe. Who knows? But there is definitely room for improvement in Kenya, like for sure. So that's not what I'm trying to say. It's I'm trying to, you know, also talk about. Imagine if you were a farmer in Kenya and then people started saying your coffee is not good anymore. And you have been doing the same all the time. Well, maybe that's not the whole truth. But there's a blog post written by Christopher Ferran, I think, that you can read about this issue. It's pretty well written, but it only highlights some parts of the very, very complex situation. Because coffee is more than a political system. It's also a lot of other stuff. So, when we're talking about green production in general and talking green coffee, there's one thing that I've written down that we need to talk about that happened in 2021. We had a frost in Brazil.
So what's that done for prices and things? So
Brazil, for those of you who don't know, but Brazil is the biggest coffee producing country in the world by far. And when they have frost, it means coffee trees, they become brown, the leaves become brown and they fall off and the fruits fall off.
And they don't produce,
And it takes normally 1 to 2 years before they can start producing again. Because first they have to produce leaves, then they can produce flowers and cherries. So, and sometimes the tree dies, so they have to replant. It depends on how severe the frost is. But so when this happened, of course, there's a shortage of coffee, so the prices go up.
So that affects, being such a large producer, that affects like the entire market.
So that sounds great, you might think. And we saw last year, you know, the prices for commodity coffee. This is what we're talking about now. Prices for commodity coffee, which has averaged around $1.50 for the last 50 years. It was now slightly above $2 per pound And that seems great.
Big jump.
Yeah. But if you think about the price being the same for 50 years, $2 is not a lot of money. In fact, prices for food here in Norway, as I think the last 50 years it's 10 times higher, and salaries are 20 times higher. So we're basically saying that coffee producers are getting the same salary as their parents did in the 1970s. That's what we're saying. So I went to Colombia in November. Spoke to Elias about because the prices there were good, you know. And people were selling wet coffee, undried coffee, and for a higher price than if they dry their coffee themselves, because the cooperatives were just desperate to buy coffee to fulfill contracts. But the problem is labor costs has gone up dramatically because of COVID. Gas prices have gone up. And because shipping. The oil prices are more expensive, the fertilizer is more expensive. Transportation costs are more expensive. Food is more expensive.
Everywhere along the chain.
So this is the problem. And in fact, they raised the minimum wage in Colombia. And what's going to happen is, of course, the gain is kind of lost because of the price increase. But what's going to happen for sure is that in 2-3 years, when Brazil starts producing again, the coffee prices are going down. But the other prices are not going down. So that leaves the farmers in a worse place than they were.
There's just sort of at complete mercy of the market, aren't they? We see in Norway recently, like locally, that electricity prices have, gone up 15% or something like that. And then we see immediately there's like a change to the cost of living, grocery prices, everything has happened pretty immediately. But in the coffee world, I think for these producers, they don't reap the benefits of prices changing. Rather, maybe the people in between adjust that. So.
We also saw, I remember last time this happened, we had like some market prices almost at $3, and then coffee theft was a big thing. So farmers that I was buying from in El Salvador had to hire security to protect the coffee. So we were saying when the prices go up, there's also added cost in terms of security and everything. This is one of the reasons why our prices have been the same for the last many years for a lot of these producers that we buy from, and our average price is way above market price.
The price we pay to the farmers,
It's not only higher than market price for commodity. Of course, it's higher. I mean, we're not in that market. But now we have like a baseline for quality coffee, which is the Transparency Coffee Guide. I think the average price in 2020 for high quality coffee were like $3.50. That's the average. And our average was back then $5.50. So we're already paying a lot more. And the reason why we're doing this is because we see that it works. Like you see the investments being done on the farms that we buy from. Coffee gets better.
It leads directly to the quality in the cup.
It does translate to quality in the cup. So I think for the coming year is the first time where I'm actually going to sit down with Elias and discuss whether we need to increase the price slightly. Because I was just there and I saw that he had to pay the workers a lot more. The cost for fertilizer had doubled. So knowing that, for me, if I want to encourage him to keep doing the same things, we might look at increasing the price. But we're not talking about $6 more, we were talking maybe 50 cents more is enough. So the price at the end will not necessarily be that much affected. But for him, it will make a big difference.
Huge difference.
And it's just like any other business. If you're running a business, you have inflation. Your workers want higher salary every year. Cost for milk goes up, cost for electricity goes up. So you have to increase the price gradually. Whereas in coffee farming, this hasn't happened for 50 years. So it's only natural that it's happening.
That's incredible, really. Like $1.50 and then jumped to $2, and that's been the increase over 50 years.
It's nothing. And I get so I get not angry, but I get upset with people saying that our coffee is expensive. If you calculate the price per cup, it's kind of like maybe 7 crowns per cup, €1 per cup. And then you go to any bar and you pay, 13 euros for a crappy glass of wine without even blinking.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's kind of the same like if you're in a gas station, people complain about the petrol price, which is 2 euros per liter, and then you buy a bottle of water, which is 4 euros per liter.
Yeah. I suppose it's that immediate kind of impact, isn't it? And
yeah. But we did have some other challenges when it came to production last year as well, and that was shipping.
Yeah.
And we were actually fortunate to kind of miss out on all the trouble a little bit, at least, except in Kenya. We had one container, went from Kenya to the King Abdullah port in, where is it? In Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
And it was stuck there for 2 months in the port because there were no ships coming to pick up the container to ship it to Europe. And I just remember going into Google Maps and just checking out the port, and it's in the desert. And it's like 40 degrees at night.
Yeah, wow.
So fortunately, it didn't really affect the quality of the coffee. We do vacuum packing and everything, but that could be. Our coffee was very delayed, and the risk was that we were almost running out of coffee.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a new thing, like delays, especially shipping delays from Ethiopia, Kenya. But I suppose with the Suez Canal problem and COVID, there was some strikes happening, I think, in ports in Europe and.
Everywhere it's a problem.
It was probably just
And I was talking to Alex, who is the green buyer and also my best friend. He's green buyer at Solberg & Hansen. And he said, like, to get a container from Indonesia to Europe now cost him $10,000 just for the container.
Yeah.
And before it was $1,500.
You're going to see prices going up there and so on, isn't it?
Yeah. So there's been a lot of challenges because of the pandemic that is not necessarily directly coffee related, but that affects the coffee world a lot. And, things like the ports, ships, containers. Yeah. We were really working hard to get our Colombian coffee shipped early. And it was in December we got a container booked, and then it was rescheduled, and all of a sudden it was rescheduled to be shipped in March. And we're like, then we're going to have no coffee.
Yeah.
So we had to really call around to different shipping companies in order to find a container.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other things we need to talk about? Have there been any benefits
of COVID? I suppose it's forced us to kind of like trim or kind of restructure and become more efficient.
Yeah.
Work smarter. Work a little bit more digitally online.
Yeah,
I think, and that's probably accelerated what's going to happen anyway in the future.
Yeah.
I mean, you've spent more time here in Norway, so you've been able to spend more time here in the roastery. Yeah, those sort of small things. So have to look at the positives.
For me, that's been great to be more involved in the company. I've always been involved, but now I can be like more on top. And now it's almost like I don't want to go away because
I feel like get back.
Yeah,
I think like for our perspective in the roastery, there's been lots of positives. I really have sympathy for, especially the restaurants who have had long lockdowns. The offices that have had to shut, those sort of people who they've been really affected by COVID in Norway, all around the world, I'm guessing. So in many ways, I think people are always going to keep drinking coffee, and we're going to be able to find a way to meet that market. But there's always positives and negatives.
Yeah, for sure.
Looking forward to hopefully getting a bit more normality and a better future in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I think in general, like you say, people have to be more efficient and think a little bit more about what they're actually doing and why they're doing it. So especially in coffee world, like it used to be a thing where people just wanted to travel just to travel,
Yeah,
but like
it's a bit more coffee tourism in a way.
Yeah, which is, we need to get coffee people to Origin to understand what's happening there, but they don't have to do it every single month. It's not very efficient for anyone, not for the producer or for the buyer or for the company and everything. So, and also, I think for us, it's because we have become more digital. It's easier to reach out to more people. Like, let's say we have an event here for 20 people. That's 20 people, but we can easily have an online event for 1,000 people. and have the same kind of content, and it can be interactive. Whereas before we rarely thought about that, you know. So that's one of the things where we're heading, I think, in 2022 and the future. We are becoming more digital in our communication.
Trainings and events. And
yeah, at least that's my wish. Yeah. And I've also promised myself that I am going to start the conversation about organic farming with the producers we're buying from in the Americas.
Yeah.
I'm at least going to start the conversation, and then we'll see what happens. Yeah. But I feel like we've come to a point where I know that they have economic stability, and I know they're also, because we've been talking gradually about this for many years, I know that there is a small willingness to at least try.
Well, with fertilizer prices going crazy as well, like they just doubled in Norway.
Yeah.
Farmers here. You know,
the same in Colombia.
That's opportunity.
Yeah. So I already spoke to Elias about it in Colombia.
Yeah.
And I proposed that we could take maybe 2 hectares and try. And then we would pay for the coffee and, you know.
Where does the hesitancy come from? Like, what's the main resistance from farmers to?
They've always told that the production goes down,
yeah.
Which obviously it will in the beginning. But if you do proper organic farming, there's no reason why it should go down.
It'll come back.
But the conversion time, you will have a loss of production because you're trying to establish something that is not there.
So they're living so kind of hand to mouth in a way that's a big risk.
Yeah. Definitely. And the other thing is that there's very little know-how in the area where Elias is, for instance. Most of the agronomists work for cooperatives that are selling fertilizer or companies that are selling fertilizer. So, but he has actually one agronomist that he's working with that actually proposed to do 1 round of fertilizer per year as organic and the 2 other ones as the conventional. Obviously, that's not going to do a whole lot, but at least Elias is willing to try, and in my head then going 1, maybe 2, then maybe 3, and then we can start thinking. Yeah. So that's the kind of goal. And I think at least where he has Castillo, the variety that is leaf rust resistant, there's definitely potential because he doesn't have to worry about that.
Spray, yeah. So yeah, I suppose if you can just not so much educate, but I suppose like just learn by doing and seeing that, you know, you can get good results.
Yeah.
It's the way to change that.
Yeah. In my dream would be that all our coffee is organic. Not for the sake of certification, but because I believe that's the future of farming. Yeah. And yeah, there is a lot of bad organic practices. So there needs to be more education around it to do it properly. Yeah. Because then it could really work, I think, especially for farmers that are not, you know, huge in size. So obviously a Brazilian farm that is 20,000 hectares is a little bit different than a 2 hectare farm. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's what I'm at least going to try to start pushing for. In Ethiopia, the farms are organic, so
by default mostly.
They don't really have to do a lot, but we're also going to propose to get some of them certified. One is already, but maybe Tatmara could also be. I think it's a process and it's a cost, but someone has to pay for it. Yeah. And I think, you know, that someone should be us. If we're asking for it, it should be us. Yeah. Because he's already doing it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Cool. I think that's kind of sums up at least some of the year we had and maybe some of the future as well. Personally, I loved 2021 because the coffees were great. And I'm doing the quality control every Monday, so it's been a real treat tasting our coffees, I think, this year. Some years are better than others, but I think, you know, the Caballero family, Los Pirineos had fantastic years.
I was going to mention those two, like personal favorites, probably just the cutaway variety from the Caballeros. Yeah. Not the most like fruity, like aromatic coffee, but just so like so rich and like great mouthfeel and so easy to brew as well.
But, so that's been a good coffee this year, I think, for sure. Yeah. So let's hope 2022 has even better coffees for us. I hope so. We are getting some exciting varieties from Tamana. More on that later, I think.
Great. Look forward to that.
Yeah. Cool, that's all we had for today. Thanks for watching, and if you have any comments or questions, feel free to do that below, and we'll try to answer, and maybe we'll make another video even to answer your questions. Thanks for watching, and have a nice 2022. Bye-bye.
Bye.